So in exercise 1, we're going to be using the method of completing the square to place the following quadratic equation in vertex form, y equals x squared minus 6x minus 16. And we're going to place it in vertex form by transforming an equation that looks like this to an equation that looks like this. So step 1 is going to say set the equation equal to 0. So the only difference between this equation up here and this one down here is that there is no more y value, and that y value has been changed to a 0. Now, step 2 says to use the addition property of equality to move the c term to the other side of the equation. So the only thing that's happened here is that we have a minus 16. It says move the c term to the other side. Now, a little piece of advice is to keep a blank space right next to that 6x where the c term was. We're going to be using that. So 0 plus 16 gives us this 16 right here. And negative 16 and positive 16 cancel out, and we have that blank space. Step 3, divide the b term, which is the number before x, then square it. So example says that you have a negative 6 as your b term right here. Not positive 6, it's a negative 6, divided by 2. So we're going to get negative 3 and square it. So negative 3 times negative 3 will give us a positive 9. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add that value to both sides of the equation. So that's why we left that blank space in there, because now we're going to put that plus 9 in there, and we're going to put the plus 9 on the other side. What we just did was we created a perfect square trinomial. So in step 4, we're going to factor that perfect square trinomial. So what two numbers are going to multiply to positive 9 and add to negative 6? Well, let's see. We're going to have x and x for x squared. We're going to have 3 and 3. And the way we multiply to get a positive and add them together to get a negative 6 is that they're both going to be negative 3. Or you could rewrite them together as this x minus 3 squared. Now, we're going to combine the right side, and we're going to get x, this right side equal to 16 plus 9 is 25. So you're left with this x minus 3 squared equals 25. The last step is going to be to move that constant back to the same side of the equation as the x minus 3 squared and replace the 0 with y. So let's move this 25 by subtracting it over to the other side, and you're left with this equation right here. Now, it says, voila, vertex form of a parabola. Using your knowledge of quadratic transformations, why do you think this is called vertex form? So looking at that equation, we know that we're subtracting 3 inside, so that's going to move it right 3 units. And we're subtracting 25 outside, so it's going to move it down 25, which means that we know that our vertex is going to be 3, negative 25, based on this equation. So it's called vertex form because by looking at this equation, you could tell what your vertex of this parabola is.